Amazing encounter. Unexpected billionaire. Rescued by a poor black girl. Their incredible love story. Unfolds. Maya Johnson rubbed her temples, squinting at the pile of notes spread across the diner's booth, illuminated by the flickering neon light outside. Cramped quarters and greasy plates surrounded her. Each day felt like another round in a boxing ring, battling exhaustion and the insistent call to prioritize her family's needs. She had dreams, but they were intertwined with the weight of the world on her shoulders. The thought of her younger brother Malik depending on her weighed heavily as rain pounded the roof overhead, splashing against her resolve. The storm mirrored her tempestuous thoughts, a chaos of torn ambitions and family loyalty. Her phone buzzed continuously, but her eyes remained fixated on the books, textbooks she barely had time to skim, each sentence blurring into the next. College applications loomed like shadows, haunting her with their deadlines. What if I flunk the math portion? The idea gnawed at her, filling her with an unease that coiled tightly in her chest. Balancing schoolwork with shifts at the diner was a juggling act, and she feared dropping the ball. Her loyalty to her family pulled her one way, while her dreams entwined tightly around her heart, beckoning her to follow. As another wave of rain lashed against the window, she thought about Jack Thompson, the man who seemed like a leaf blown aimlessly in the storm. She hadn't expected to notice someone so lost when she dashed out during the downpour that night. He was hunched over, his face a picture of distress, soaking wet and rusted with disarray. Helping him felt like a duty she embraced. It was human instinct. Yet, as she looked deeper, the gravity of his disheveled state mirrored her own struggles, a reminder of her own fragile future. Before we continue, I need to tell you about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, click the bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can leave a like, it really helps with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. Maya snapped back to reality, her heart thudding as external noise rose around her. Jack sparked something within her, a flicker of hope tangled with uncertainty. Could someone like him, so out of touch with her world, understand the lingering shadows that hung over her heart? Fear seeped into her bones. What if he had ulterior motives? The nagging thought made her stomach twist. She craved his help, but what if it came at a cost? Layers of tension enveloped her. The moment she walked away from her family's needs to pursue her education felt like a betrayal. What would they think if they knew she was dreaming while they struggled? Each bruised thought collided with the other, leaving her breathless by their weight. Maya gazed at the crumpled acceptance letter from the university, fingers trembling, wavering between hope and the thirst for resilience. Should she embrace this chance and risk tearing her family apart, or clutch tighter to the ties that held her back? The storm still raged outside, reflecting the tempest swirling within her. The thought of reaching out to Jack, of further entangling their fates, sent her heart racing. Was their bond a beacon, or merely the beginning of her unraveling? Confronting her dreams felt impossibly daunting as more whispers of scandal brushed her ears, pushing her toward a judgment she feared facing. The weight of all her choices buried deeper, leaving her wide awake, staring into the darkened corners of her room, desperate for clarity. The morning sunlight filtered through the window, splashing warmth across Maya's face, stirring her from restless dreams. The cacophony of the diner's morning rush filled the air, a chaotic symphony of clinking plates and sizzling grills, but her mind remained a tangled web of doubts and aspirations. With each cup of coffee she served, the shadows of uncertainty gradually lightened but never fully dissipated. The acceptance letter lay crumpled in her back pocket, a physical embodiment of the dreams she both yearned for and feared. Maya took a deep breath, calling upon the resolve that had brought her this far. She couldn't allow her crumbling confidence to dictate her choices. Every time she thought of Jack, His struggles mirrored her own, and the intensity of their unexpected bond both invigorated and unsettled her. Was he a means to an end or something deeper? A part of her longed to explore these feelings, but the weight of her responsibilities loomed large, making her question whether she had the right to pursue personal fulfillment. The diner had never felt as stifling as it did today. Between serving customers and juggling orders, her mind roamed, pondering the chances Jack might offer her a glimpse into another world, one far removed from late-night shifts and constant worry. Yet the other side of her mind whispered fear into the fabric of her thoughts. Could she bear the weight of this new life? What if chasing her dreams only led to new heartbreaks? After the lunch rush, Maya stole a moment to step outside, where the sun warmed her skin and the fresh air filled her lungs with renewed hope. She drew in the essence of life around her, a stark contrast to the confusion swirling inside. Finally, she resolved to confront Jack. If anything, he was a catalyst for her ambitions, a reminder that dreams didn't always have to remain cloaked in shadows. That evening, she mustered her courage and texted him, "Can I meet you? I need to talk." The reply came almost instantly. "How about the cafe on 5th at 6 p.m.? Each ping of her phone sent a jolt through her, anticipation mixed with anxiety as the moment approached. At the cafe, she spotted Jack seated at a corner table, a pensive look etched across his face. He looked up, and their eyes locked, a silent communication woven through unspoken understanding. She sat, her heart pounding. Suddenly, the narrative shifted, and they were no longer just two lost souls meeting randomly. They were architects of their own futures, forging connections in the chaos of life. "Hey, Maya," he said, his voice steady, though she sensed an underlying nervousness. "What's on your mind?" "I received my acceptance letter today," she blurted out, her voice tightening. His eyes widened, a smile breaking through his initial concern. "That's amazing. You must be thrilled." "I am. But," she hesitated, revealing her vulnerability, "it feels selfish to think about myself when I have family responsibilities." Jack leaned forward, his expression shifting to one of understanding. "It's not selfish to chase your dreams. Who says you have to choose one over the other? You can find a way to do both." His conviction ignited something within her, but doubt still lingered, pricking at her sense of morality. If she were to embrace this new path with Jack supporting her, what sacrifices would emerge? What would it mean for her family, her bond with Malik? As she weighed these thoughts, the cafe buzzed around her. Life continued, irrepressible and vibrant. Maya decided then to confront the heart of her conflict. "Can you really help me, Jack? I can't deny there's so much uncertainty." His smile faded slightly, revealing the seriousness of her question. "I want to help you, Maya, but you have to let me in." The depth of his offer echoed within her. Agreeing meant shattering the chains holding her back. But at what cost? Their conversation dripped with promise and uncertainty, each word a fragile thread weaving their fates together. What lay ahead was a labyrinth of emotions, dreams intertwining with reality, and challenges that both awaited them. As they stumbled onto the true weight of their connection, the stakes involved loomed larger. Would the choice of unveiling her ambitions lead them to a path of understanding, or would their lives become irrevocably altered in the process? The night was thick with tension, and Maya knew a decision loomed on the horizon. All too soon, she would need to confront the ultimate question of sacrifice versus aspiration. The tension in the cafe seemed to hum around Maya as she absorbed Jack's words, a mixture of hope and fear swelling inside her. She had always been the dependable one, the one who shouldered responsibilities without question. Now, the prospect of stepping beyond the confines of her old life into something unknown filled her both with excitement and an unsettling apprehension. Jack shifted in his seat, his eyes fixed on her with an intensity that made her heart race. "We all have fears, Maya, but these dreams are what you deserve," he said, sincerity etched into every syllable. Was it genuine encouragement, or was he merely reflecting his own aspirations onto her? She found herself studying him for clues, desperate to decipher his message while simultaneously wrestling with her own insecurities. "I don't want to let anyone down," she admitted, her voice barely above a whisper. The weight of her family's needs loomed heavily in her mind. Malik needed her. She had sacrificed for him so many times before. But could she really risk more? Jack leaned back, his face thoughtful. "You're already juggling so much. But what if pursuing your dreams brought you a new perspective? What if it made you even stronger for Malik?" The gestures of his hands emphasized his point, his passion infectious. Yet it also ignited a familiar guilt within her. What if she failed? What if the thing she wanted pulled her away from her responsibilities or caused rifts in her cherished relationships? Images of Malik's smiling face drifted into her thoughts, and she imagined him looking up at her with eyes full of admiration, or perhaps disappointment. Maya decided to voice her struggles, her breathing growing heavier. "What if in pursuing what I want, it leads me far away from the people I care about? I can't turn my back on my family. I just can't." Each word felt like a piece of her heart laid bare. Jack studied her, empathy in his gaze. "Nobody's asking you to turn your back. You're not abandoning them. It's about expanding yourself, finding who you are outside of your obligations." His voice was steady, but Maya could sense the underlying urgency. She realized there was passion in his pursuit too. Perhaps they were both searching for validation. Silence enveloped them, the cafe buzzing with life around them but feeling worlds away. Maya contemplated her next steps, the potential consequences swirling like a storm. What could she offer to a future adorned with dreams and hope? But in order to embrace that future, she had to face her fears. "Okay," she finally said, the word tasting foreign on her tongue. "I'll try. I'll explore what this acceptance means for me." Jack's eyes widened in surprise and joy, illuminated by a spark of optimism. "You won't regret it." But as the conviction of his reassurance gripped her, doubt tugged at the edges of her mind. Should she truly follow this path, even if it meant disrupting the delicate balance she had worked so hard to maintain? In that moment, her phone buzzed, breaking the spell of their exchange. It was a text from Malik. "Miss you. What time you coming home?" The fleeting joy in Jack's eyes began to dim as reality crashed back into focus. The connection they had begun to form with each exchange felt fragile under the weight of her responsibilities. Maya's heart raced as she quickly typed a reply. "I'll be home soon." The blend of excitement and anxiety coursed through her veins, a stark reminder that each decision now had rippling implications. "I need time to think," she told Jack, her resolve hardening. "I can't promise anything yet." As she looked up, the determination in his face faltered, but Maya could see the understanding shine through. He too recognized the complexity of adult decisions. The conversation shifting toward more mundane topics. But each laugh and shared smile felt like two paths diverging, one leading toward the comfort of familiarity, one toward the enticing unknown. They were holding on to something much greater now, a promise of transformation. As she left the cafe, she felt the weight of her decision resting heavily on her shoulders. The night air was cool against her skin, crisp and charged with possibility. What was ahead felt nebulous and unclear, yet she could sense that every choice made now would define her journey. Yet as she walked toward home, an unsettling thought emerged. Was she truly ready for the consequences? What would happen next if she embraced her ambitions? The moment clung in her memory, the tentative blooms of hope intertwined with the roots of anxiety. And as she stepped into the shadows of her familiar world, she questioned whether embarking on this new chapter would illuminate or eclipse everything she had built so far. The cost of dreams was yet to be revealed, and it loomed ominously on the horizon. The rest of the evening unfolded in muted tones, the familiarity of home wrapping around Maya like a blanket. Yet, it felt heavier than usual, almost suffocating. Malik's cheerful chatter filled the living room as he regaled her with tales from school, but her responses seemed automatic, distant. The weight of her conversation with Jack still clung to her, shadowing her every thought. Upon entering her room, she felt the chaos erupting within her, a storm of possibilities swirling and colliding. She tossed her bag on the bed. Its weight mirrored her trepidation. Would exploring her ambitions be worth the potential fallout? In search of clarity, she sank to the floor, wrapping her arms around her knees, her breathing becoming methodical, almost meditative. The concepts Jack introduced lingered in her mind. Expansion versus obligation. What did it mean to expand? The idea felt exhilarating yet ominous. She pulled out her notebook, the one she had hidden beneath layers of clothes. Flipping through the pages, she hesitated as memories of her dreams flickered back to life. Sketches of places she wanted to visit, courses she wished to take, ideas about creating a space for community art. Could she actually pursue these without abandoning her family? A deep crease formed between her brows as doubt gnawed at her resolve. Malik needed her as much as she needed him, and she couldn't shake the fear of falling short. She scribbled a glaring question across the page. What if I prioritize my dreams and lose everything? Each stroke of the pen felt heavy, as if outlining a possible tragedy. However, beneath that fear, an unfamiliar ember burned, the flicker of a longing too potent to extinguish. That whisper urged her to question how her aspirations could intertwine with her responsibilities instead of competing with them. The realization hit as she stared at her drawings. That transformative journey could redefine not just her life, but Malik's as well. Pursuing her ambitions could emerge as an asset, not a detriment. Perhaps, showing Malik the importance of following one's passions would instill in him not just admiration, but also inspiration. The thought ignited something within, a resolve she hadn't believed she possessed. As days turned into weeks, her opportunities began to crystallize. She carved out precious moments to explore her interests, attending workshops on graphic design and community arts. Each step felt both exhilarating and disorienting, much like stepping onto a tightrope. The fear of falling was ever present, but with each small achievement, a completed project, a new skill, the pull of her old life began to soften. Malik saw her glowing with a newfound energy. His admiration transformed into something more profound as he engaged in her pursuits, eager to learn. However, every moment spent nurturing her passions seemed to deepen the weight of her familial obligations. One night, Malik sat her down after dinner, confusion written across his face. Are you going to quit your job? What if you don't have time for me? His tone didn't bear accusation, but rather an innocent concern that anchored her guilt anew. Maya felt her heart constrict. In his eyes, she could see her own fright mirrored. They were both navigating an intimidating crossroads. No, Malik, she began, her voice firm yet gentle. I'm just finding a way to be better for both of us, and it doesn't mean I'll be gone. His young brow furrowed. But I miss you sometimes. The pang of guilt throbbed violently, and she fought against the urge to reassure him in a way that was false. Instead, she met his gaze, determination surging within. I understand that, and it's okay to miss me. But just like you learn in school, we have to grow to achieve our dreams. I'm learning to be someone who can help us both. His expression softened, curiosity piquing more than disappointment. Then let's do it together. Maya had never considered that the path she embarked upon didn't have to be singular. Together, they could explore creativity and resilience as allies. Playing in that newfound dynamic, she realized that their bond would only strengthen if nurtured through shared experiences and support. But there it was again, that flicker at the back of her mind. Was she brave enough to engage in this partnership wholeheartedly? The stakes felt higher, the path ahead uncertain, but she welcomed a challenge. Clarity still hovered tantalizingly close, straddling the line between ambition and obligation. If she wanted true fulfillment, she would need to face her fears fully. And intertwined in those fears was a growing connection with Jack, whose presence sparked aspirations she hadn't explored fully. "Tomorrow I'll call Jack," she decided aloud, determination threading through her words. But as she contemplated the conversation, uncertainty draped over her like a cloak. What revelations would emerge from that call? Would she be ready to face the possibilities they both harbored? Maya leaned back against her bed, wrestling internally with impending choices. Taking the leap into this next chapter felt like standing at the precipice of a great height. Would she fly or fall? The time to confront the immeasurable depth of her ambitions and their consequences was swiftly approaching. Maya woke early the next morning, the sun casting a warm glow across her room. The day stretched out before her like an unsolved puzzle, each piece holding the potential for revelation. She could already hear Malik stirring in the kitchen, the clatter of pots and pans a familiar melody that grounded her amidst the uncertainty swirling in her mind. Today was the day she would finally reach out to Jack, her heart racing at the thought of his voice on the other end of the line. Would he welcome her ideas with the same encouragement he had exhibited before? Or would he see her as merely another distant dreamer, incapable of making any real changes? These questions gnawed at her, but beneath them lay an ember of resolve. This was not just about her aspirations. It was about redefining their future. As she sipped her coffee in the kitchen, Malik's presence was a comforting reminder of her motivation. His laughter as he spilled cereal across the table ignited a flicker of joy amidst her spiraling thoughts. She envisioned sharing her ambitions with him, not just to show him success, but to teach him resilience, the value of dreaming big while staying grounded. Just as this notion began to settle in her mind, the phone rang, its shrill tone startling her. It was now or never. She took a deep breath, her heart pounding like a drum. "Okay, I can do this," she whispered to herself. With determined fingers, she picked up the phone and dialed Jack's number, her mind racing with everything she wanted to say. "Hello?" His voice resonated at the other end, rich and familiar, stirring a mix of excitement and anxiety within her. "Jack, it's Maya." The words tumbled out before she could second-guess them. "Maya, hey, I didn't expect to hear from you. How have you been?" His enthusiasm washed over her like a balm. I've been thinking about the ideas we discussed, about creating art and more opportunities in our community." There was a brief pause, and she could almost hear his mind whirling with possibilities. "That's fantastic. What did you have in mind?" Maya laid out her vision, every detail layered with passion and intent. Ideas spilled forth, covering everything from workshops to community art projects. She could feel the enthusiasm radiating from him, mirroring her own. As they spoke, each exchange felt like stepping into a dance, their shared dreams intertwining with vibrant energy. For the first time, Maya grasped how her ambitions could not only breathe life into her, but also inspire others. Jack's encouraging words prompted her to probe deeper into her ideas, their collaboration transforming into a canvas of innovation. But amid the excitement, a shadow lingered. The memory of Malik's worries echoed in her mind. As she shared her aspirations, how could she ensure her son wouldn't feel neglected? The balance of ambitions and obligations felt precarious, as if she were walking a tightrope with each commitment she made. After they hung up, a sense of elevation filled her. She had taken a step forward, yet doubt prickled at the back of her mind. Would this newfound determination create space for Malik, or would it push him away in her pursuit of passion? How could she convince him that her journey was theirs to share? The rest of the day unfolded in a swirl of thoughts, the weight of her choices pressing upon her. Deep down, she knew that the path ahead would demand sacrifices, expenditures of time and emotional energy that might come at a cost. But what if the cost was worth the potential reward? As night fell, she sat in Malik's room, surrounded by his art supplies, little splashes of color on canvas reflecting his youthful imagination. "Malik," she began hesitantly, the conversation with Jack still dancing in her mind. "Can we talk about our dreams, about what it means to make them real?" His curious gaze met hers, an innocent spark igniting the discussion. Together, they embarked on a journey of exploration, discussing their hopes, fears, and aspirations. Yet, as their conversation unfolded, Maya realized something deeper lurked beneath the surface. The stakes felt endlessly high. Could she truly balance her growing ambitions with the unwavering connection to her son? Could they become partners in creating something extraordinary together? As she turned to Malik, hope mingled with trepidation. Their futures were entwined, and the reality of what that entailed hovered in the air. The questions echoed loudly in her mind. Could she navigate the complexities of this dual path? Would they emerge together strengthened or frayed? In that moment, she felt the dawn of a new chapter approaching, one marked by empowerment and uncertainty. Together, they would face the impending challenges, but would the price of ambition prove too dear? A single thought crystallized within her. The time had come to define what it meant to truly support each other in the pursuit of dreams. But the clarity she sought was still eluding her, sitting at the edge of the horizon, waiting to be claimed. The following day dawned with a crisp clarity, each ray of sunlight a gentle nudge toward action. Maya woke with a purpose that reverberated through her, a renewed energy coursing in her veins. She had spent the previous evening contemplating her conversation with Jack and her aspirations, but now it was time to begin shaping those thoughts into tangible realities. Malik was still asleep, a peaceful expression on his face, and for a moment, she hesitated to leave the sanctuary of their home. Would stepping further into her ambition distance them? She needed to believe it would only draw them closer, forging a partnership rooted in shared dreams. She pulled herself from that moment of indecision, recognizing that her commitment to Malik also meant committing to her vision. After breakfast, she combed through her notes, the careful sketches of ideas she had written. The clarity wasn't just about art, it was about creating opportunities, ways to involve Malik in her pursuits, rather than present him with the reality of her absence. She picked up her phone and dialed Jack again, feeling an electric thrill as each tone rang. "Hey, Maya! I'm glad you called back. I could hear the excitement in your voice yesterday," he replied, his enthusiasm infectious. "I've been mulling over our ideas and want to discuss a few plans," she said, her heart racing as she initiated the next level of communication. Jack listened intently as she presented her vision of integrating their community art projects with educational workshops for young aspiring artists, including Malik. It was more than just a project. It was a way of weaving her life with her son's. What if we create a space where kids can learn art while also seeing a direct impact of their work? We could even showcase their pieces in a local gallery. He paused, and for a moment, the silence felt heavy. "That's brilliant, Maya. This could be a game changer. You're not just talking about art, you're cultivating a legacy." Legacy. The word lingered in the air like sweet perfume, igniting a fire within her. The realization struck her. This would not only be a career, but a pathway for Malik to witness the fruits of hard work, collaboration, and creativity. They bounced ideas back and forth, refining every detail, igniting a synergy only dreams could create. With Jack at her side, she saw them moving beyond traditional boundaries, inviting others to contribute. A network of like-minded souls who could elevate each other. Yet amidst this whirlwind of excitement, a thought pierced through the fervor. The skepticism that her ambitions could stem from mere idealism. What if she didn't fulfill her promises? What if she drove herself to exhaustion trying to juggle everything? As the conversation concluded and plans solidified, Maya's veins coursed with purpose, but doubt lingered at the edges of her confidence like a specter. She had to be strategic, Balancing professional and personal aspirations was critical. With a decision made, she reached out to Malik. "What if you helped me with this project?" she asked, her voice imbued with warmth. His eyes lit up, the idea sparking a unique partnership, yet she sensed a hint of hesitance beneath his excitement. "You really want me to help, Mom? With your work?" "Absolutely. This is about both of us, and what we can create together." Malik's agreement felt as if they were laying the first brick in a shared journey, one built on collaboration and trust. Maya was learning to embrace an even more significant truth. Leadership meant vulnerability, and she would have to show Malik the process of growth, fears, and even failures. But even as she fostered this partnership, allowing Malik in, she sensed a cautionary whisper. Could a young boy truly grasp the weight of her ambitions? Did he understand the complexities beyond their shared creative endeavors? As dusk settled, casting long shadows in their home, she felt the weight of impending decisions pressing heavily against her soul. The blend of ambition and nurturing might morph into something else entirely. Within the garden of their new journey lay wildflowers of potential and thorns of setbacks, of standing in front of their once quiet canvas, vibrant with ideas and plans. Maya considered how to sustain both their dreams without neglecting one or the other. The balance remained elusive, and deep in her heart, she knew much remained to be revealed in this journey, a dual struggle for success that would now be entwined with her son's growth. She briskly painted their living room, using it as a metaphorical canvas for their life ahead. Each stroke of color represented hopes, fears, and the delicate nature of their partnership. But just as she found rhythm in her thoughts, the door creaked open, revealing Malik. "Mom, can we talk?" His request struck like a powerful chord, sending a ripple of uncertainty through her. What would his words unfurl? Would he reveal deeper fears about her journey, or would he surprise her with understanding? As she turned to face him, the deeper realities of their shared aspirations shimmered in the air around them, bringing forth a new set of questions she hadn't entirely anticipated. Maya took a deep breath as she faced Malik, instincts telling her the gravity in his voice carried more than just a simple inquiry. She could see the tumult of thoughts swirling behind his expressive eyes, mirroring her own uncertainties. "Sure, honey. What's on your mind?" she prompted, striving to maintain a calm demeanor. "Are you sure you want me to help? I mean, what if I mess things up?" His vulnerability was palpable. The doubt clung to him like a heavy coat he couldn't shed. Maya felt a tug at her heartstrings. In him, she recognized echoes of her own fears, the fear of failure, of not meeting expectations. But instead of shying away from the conversation, she leaned in. "I believe you can do it, Malik. We're in this together, remember? If we stumble, we learn from it. We learn." Her words settled between them, forming a bridge that connected their individual worries. Yet, even as she offered reassurance, questions haunted her. Was she truly ready to take on this dual role of visionary and mother? Her aspirations were no longer a solitary venture, but a collaborative mission that would impact Malik's journey. "So what if people don't like what we create?" Malik continued, his brow creased with genuine concern. "Then we listen and adapt. Art is all about expression, and it can speak to different people in unexpected ways. Our job is to be brave enough to show what's in our hearts." She paused, contemplating the lessons hidden in the arts. "It's about authenticity, more than anything." Malik nodded slowly, digesting her points. "So, if I do this, you think I could be an artist? Like, a real one?" His innocence struck deep, igniting a determination within Maya. It became clear that her role was not only to guide him through the creative process, but also to instill the idea that his self-worth was inherent, regardless of external validation. "Absolutely, Malik. Your voice is important, and it deserves to be heard." As they sat together, the evening sun casting a warm glow in their living room filled with fresh color, Maya understood her purpose was evolving. Malik's journey wasn't merely an extension of hers. It was a unique thread woven into their shared tapestry. "I guess I'm scared of all the work it might take," he admitted, a mixture of honesty and youthful resignation. "What if I don't have time? What if I fail?" "Fear is part of the process, darling. It's a signal that something important is at stake. But remember, what we create together is bigger than just the pieces we'll make. It's about who we become in the process." Her voice was steady, infusing confidence into her words. Malik's expression shifted, a spark of inspiration igniting within him. "So, we're not just making art. We're making a story?" "Exactly. A story that reflects both of us. Our struggles, our wins. It's going to have its ups and downs, but that's how great stories are made." A smile broke over Malik's face, carrying the promise of collaborative beginnings. Yet, beneath his enthusiasm, Maya sensed his apprehensions would merely transform, but not disappear. She held the weight of her new reality close. The straightforward task of nurturing Malik's blossoming artist, while concurrently shepherding her own ambitions, still loomed over her. Later that evening, as she tucked Malik into bed, the echoes of their conversation played on repeat in her mind. Could she keep the integrity of their partnership while pursuing her dreams? She was about to find out, yet a different shadow eclipsed her thoughts. Would Jack truly comprehend the deeper elements of her aspirations? Was he entirely on board for what lay ahead, or was he merely caught up in the initial excitement? A knot tightened in her stomach at the notion. What lay beyond their grand ideas was the reality of relationships and the dynamics of partnership. As she quietly left his room, tension coiled within her. The path ahead shimmered with potential, yet she knew challenges would abound. Would her collaboration with Jack evolve into something more enriching, or would it fray under the pressure of real-world expectations? The night deepened, the air thick with anticipation and uncertainty. In a watershed moment that loomed ahead, every decision she made from here on out could illuminate their future or plunge them into muddied waters. As she closed their door softly, the uncertainty loomed larger. Could she navigate this tension without losing herself, or Malik, along the way? With her heart racing, she wondered, what if the greatest challenges weren't external, but the shadows of doubt that lurked within her own mind? The morning sunlight spilled into Maya's kitchen, filtering through the curtains like soft ribbons. She stood at the counter, absently stirring a pot of oatmeal while her thoughts spiraled outward. Questions functioned like an invisible tether, pulling her toward a myriad of possibilities. The creative partnership with Malik, the dynamic with Jack, and those unnameable fears she dared not speak. With each stroke of her spoon, she contemplated her identity as both a nurturer and a creator. For so long, Maya had defined herself through individual pursuits. Now those efforts were intertwined with the endeavors of the young artist at her side. Was she capable of fostering both their growth without losing herself? The prospect was thrilling yet terrifying. "Good morning, Mama." Malik's voice cut through her reverie, buoyant and bright. His youthful energy illuminated the humble space, demanding her attention. "Good morning, honey," she replied, forcing a smile upon her face to camouflage the storm within. Seeing Malik's eagerness dispelled some of her tension. "Ready for an adventurous day of art making?" "Absolutely. What are we going to create?" He bounced on his heels, left hand gripping an array of colorful pencils, while the right clutched his sketchbook tightly against his chest. Maya took a moment to gather herself, weighing the mixture of excitement and dread swirling in her core. "I thought we could start with some self-portraits. You can explore how you see yourself as an artist." Malik's brow furrowed with concentration. "But how do I draw me as an artist if I haven't done it yet?" "Ah, therein lies the magic," she mused, setting the spoon down. "Art isn't just about what you've done, it's about what you aspire to be. Let's draw the artist you want to become, what you imagine, and what's in your heart." The prospect of guiding Malik sparked something deep within her. It was a chance to not only expand his artistic vision, but to reflect on her own. Could she paint her aspirations with the same vibrancy? Would she have the courage to put forth her ideas to Jack? Or would fear tether her down, preventing her from presenting her bold visions? Stirring her oatmeal again, she found a pulse of determination. Today would be about vulnerability, both hers and Malik's. As they sat side by side at the dining table, the morning sunlight warmed their backs. Maya guided Malik, encouraging him to pour his imagination onto the page. He launched into a vigorous sketch, lines transforming into expressions, every stroke unlocking his creativity. Watching him brought clarity to her own muddled thoughts. Perhaps Malik required her guidance, not only in art, but also as a model of unyielding pursuit of aspirations, fostering resilience in both their hearts. With her own sketchbook open, she hesitated before making the first mark. What would she draw? A landscape of her dreams? A vision of her best self? The blank page felt intimidating, an abyss reflecting her self-doubt, but she steadied her breath, resolving that each stroke mattered. If Malik could bravely envision a future artist within himself, then she could allow herself the same freedom. As lines began to form, splashes of color followed. The paper transformed under her hand, mirroring both her chaotic thoughts and hope. Each idea built upon a growing foundation of reclamation, a pathway toward her professional development. Malik caught her glance, his light laughter filling the air. "Mama, I think you just created a masterpiece." Maya's heart soared at his encouragement, kindling an ember of confidence. "And you? I think you're well on your way to being a phenomenal artist yourself, Malik." But the glow of pride faded for a moment as her mind wandered to Jack. How would he react to this emerging creative flow between her and Malik? Would he embrace their blossoming partnership, or would it become a source of conflict between them? The weight of the unknown prickled her consciousness, overshadowed by the morning's warmth. "Ready to show me what you've created?" Maya asked Malik, pulling her resolve tight. Would this shared exploration empower them, or expose the cracks in her relationship? As he flipped his sketchbook open, a confident grin stretching across his face, Maya braced herself. In every brushstroke and every ounce of creativity unleashed lay future conversations laced with vulnerability. The journey ahead was daunting, but perhaps it held the key to unlocking not only Malik's potential, but her future too. "Absolutely, but I think we need an adventure in the afternoon to clear our heads after this." Her words hung in the air, tantalizing promise and challenge intertwined. What would this adventure unlock within them? The thought was electrifying, yet she couldn't dismiss the fear of what Jack's involvement might bring as they navigated this uncharted territory together. Maya held her breath, wondering if the real challenge was yet to come. Maya's heart raced as Malik revealed his sketch. The drawing was a burst of color and emotion, a chaotic yet organized vision of a young artist surrounded by the tools of his craft. Her breath hitched in her throat. This was not merely artistry. It was a declaration of potential. "Wow, Malik, this is incredible," she exclaimed, though a knot formed in her stomach. She felt an unfamiliar urge, a desire to share her own work, to stand alongside him, but the fear of her own inadequacies gripped her. As she compared their work, the contrast struck her like a bolt of lightning. Malik's unrefined confidence juxtaposed against her cautious reluctance illuminated the vast chasm she needed to bridge. Could she truly navigate the tides of her insecurities and step into the bold artist she dreamed of becoming? "Do you really think so?" Malik asked, his innocent curiosity evident in his wide eyes. "Yes," Maya replied too quickly. The lie tasted bitter on her tongue, but it was liberating to utter. "But tell me more about your inspiration." She diverted, eager to shift the focus away from her own doubt and toward the brilliance blooming in front of her. As Malik spoke animatedly about his vision, Maya's resolve began to solidify. She made a silent vow to honor her own artistry. If Malik could step forth, driven by his creativity, then surely she could become a beacon for him and herself, The day unfolded with a staccato rhythm of laughter and chatter. They explored the nearby park, the air fragrant with spring blooms, and as Malik animatedly described the characters in his drawings, she began envisioning her own canvas taking form. Each conversation became a thread that interwove her aspirations with his, sculpting an artistry defined by their shared experiences. But as evening descended, so did the shadows of doubt once more. The thought of presenting herself to Jack, naked in her vulnerability, gnawed at her. Would he see her in this light? Would he grasp the changes igniting within her? Their conversations had often been steeped in practicality. Had he ever glimpsed the artist she was, or merely the caretaker and collaborator? "This is such a great day," Malik said, plopping down beside her on the grass, his energy waning after hours of exploration. "Yes, it really is," she replied softly, pulling her knees up to her chest. The air, once invigorating, now held an unsettling weight. "But we have to head back soon. There's a lot I need to—" "See Jack?" Malik interrupted, voice an innocent blend of teasing and concern. Maya stared into the distance, contemplating the impending conversation with Jack. Would this be a moment of revealing her artistic self? Or would fear silenced by tradition snuff out the flame she had been nurturing? "Yeah," she replied, guilt entwining with anticipation. Unpacking her thoughts would mean allowing Jack a glimpse of her burgeoning independence. Yet the image of him dismissing her aspirations terrified her. What if he didn't understand? What if he resented her for seeking more than her current role allowed? Malik must have sensed her turmoil. "You know, Mama, if I can draw what I dream of being, you can tell him what you dream of doing." His words struck her like a clarion call of realization. The fear misidentified as protection held her back. She needed to confront it and reframe it. If she could encourage Malik to bravely express himself, how could she not do the same? "Malik, you're right. I have to be honest about who I am," she said suddenly, feeling a surge of urgency that propelled her to act. Yet, beneath the adrenaline, a part of her recoiled, uncertain about what might surface. As they made their way home, the street lamps blossomed like flowers against the coming night. With Malik bubbling with stories, Maya was swept up in the hopeful moment. But lurking in the background, doubts shadowed her with every step. Upon reaching her doorstep, breathing deep, she steeled herself for the conversation that awaited. Would sharing her truth spark understanding or resentment? She opened the door to find Jack in the living room, the evening news flickering in the background. The familiar sight of him felt warm and intimidating all at once. It was time. Time to dismantle the barriers and emerge, not just as Malik's nurturer, but as an artist in her own right. "Jack," she started, her voice trembling slightly, "there's something I want to share with you." Before she could gather her thoughts, the doorbell rang. An unexpected interruption, or perhaps a fateful distraction, foreshadowing the challenges ahead. Maya's heart thumped heavily as she turned to the door, unsure of what or who awaited on the other side. As Maya opened the door, a wave of mixed emotions washed over her. Standing there was a delivery person with a package, innocuous but significant. She took the box, thanking him and shutting the door, but her pulse raced. This was a moment for revelation, yet the mundane act of receiving a package felt like a pause in her unfolding narrative. Set on the table, the box was filled with art supplies she had ordered for her projects with Malik. A symbol of her burgeoning ambitions glimmered in front of her, a tangible manifestation of what had been quietly brewing. As she unwrapped each item, bright colors and textures emerged, instantly drawing Malik's attention. "Wow, can I help you use those?" Malik exclaimed, excitement sparkling in his eyes. "Absolutely. These are meant for us," she replied, but her own heart was anxious. Maya looked at the vibrant assortment before her, the colors embodying everything she had held back. Creative energy, the blend of dreams and the fears that shadowed them. It was also a clarity of purpose, as she realized these weren't just for her. This was an opportunity to nurture Malik's artistry and support his ambitions while also embracing her own. Amidst his joy, she caught Jack's curious gaze from across the room. His presence, always a source of comfort, now held a layer of tension, making her breath quicken anew. This revealed the stakes, the deeper intertwining of her dreams with their shared expectations. "Jack, can we talk?" She started again, feeling the weight settle on her shoulders as she navigated the push and pull of her desire for acceptance and fear of judgment. Jack turned to her, his expression sincere but unreadable. "Of course. What's on your mind?" "Mama and I are going to make amazing art together," Malik proclaimed, innocently showcasing the spirit of collaboration they had begun to forge. Maya watched the way Jack's eyebrows lifted in genuine surprise and interest, his eyes lighting up with intrigue rather than defensiveness. "That sounds wonderful. I've seen how well you both create together," he encouraged. But she sensed a flicker of skepticism dancing in his demeanor. This was it. The moment she had been thinking about, filled with uncertainty but shimmering with the tantalizing promise of growth. "It's more than just a project," she stated, grounding her voice, staring directly into Jack's eyes as confidence began to fill her. "It's about creating a space for kids in our community to discover themselves through art. But it means more for me personally," she continued, summoning her resolve. "I'm working on being the artist I want to be, not just for myself, but for Malik too." As her words flowed, the layers of her emotions unfurled, shedding light on the conflicting desires within her. The dream she had suppressed out of fear of inadequacy stood before her raw and alive. The expressions on Jack's face shifted from one of puzzlement to realization, and joy slowly glimmered as she shared her vision. "Wow, Maya, that's incredible. I can see how passionate you are about this," he replied, a dawning clarity illuminating their path forward. "You've got to embrace that side of you. It's exciting." Releasing a breath she didn't know she had been holding, Maya felt a weight lift. The fears that had tied her down began to loosen, revealing the freedom to express her ambitions. Listening to Jack, she sensed their connection evolving beyond their previous roles. He wasn't merely her protector, nor she his dependent. They were two individuals standing shoulder to shoulder, exploring the potential of blending their dreams and realities. "Can we do this together? I want to incorporate real life into our art too. I want you to meet the kids, be part of this journey," she ventured, her eyes glimmering with urgency. At that moment, uncertainty danced in Jack's gaze, which prompted a surge of honesty from within her. "There's more at stake here. I'm not saying this isn't a risk, but the potential impact it could have on Malik and our community is immense. We can catalyze change together." His silence held weight as he contemplated her words. Finally, Jack nodded resolutely, a warm smile breaking through. "I'm in. Together we can make this work." The acknowledgement lit a spark of excitement within her. It felt right, reciprocal, and promising. Maya turned to Malik, whose smile illuminated the room. "See? This is why we have to believe in each other. It's about being brave and supporting each other's dreams." Their journey was just beginning, but the momentum had shifted significantly. As they stepped into the next chapter, Maya understood that her dreams were not a solitary venture, but a collaborative effort, a bridge linking her responsibilities as a mother to her aspirations as an artist. Despite the swirling uncertainty of their future, they stood anchored in mutual support and encouragement. Any remnants of doubt melted under the shining resolve between them, and in that moment, Maya realized that leaning into vulnerability was her path to empowerment. As they began crafting a vision as a family, it felt as if they had already conquered the unfathomable foe that had held them back: fear. She now wore her ambition as a badge of honor, knowing that pursuing her dreams would ultimately lead them all toward success, fulfillment, and growth. This was the moment, the culmination of visions colliding into a single shared purpose. Maya emerged undeniably transformed, embracing the vision ahead, resolutely confident in herself. As she turned back to Jack and Malik, her heart filled with hope. She understood they would shape this journey together. Now the real adventure awaited, the creation of not only art, but a life bursting with possibility. The time for hesitation had passed. They were ready to seize the future. This is your moment to ignite others' passions. Subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next exclusive emotional stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and show your support for tales of triumph and growth. Comment with your reactions and predictions about Maya's journey, and don't wait even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this inspiring conclusion. Only true fans of personal overcoming stories understand the importance of supporting the channel through these actions.